5 business people murdered across Jamaica between March 3 and the morning of March 6, 2023. Now, these people were murdered across the parishes of Westmoreland, Manchester, St. James, even St. Andrew, Clarendon. So we have to look into what we can actually learn from these, horrendous cases as regards to us being better capable of protecting ourselves as we navigate the streets in Jamaica. So let's see how we can best look into these cases based on the report shared. Mr. Fitzroy James, according to Gleaner reports, he was at home in the morning when he was ambushed by unknown assailants and shot multiple times, where he succumbed to his injuries. Miss Catherine Matthews, who left her cook shop along with her husband, were walking on the streets of Manchester in the nighttime when they were ambushed by a lone gunman, shot, and Miss Matthews succumbed to her injuries. Plaza owner in Grandspin, St. Andrew, he along with his wife, according to the reports of Jamaica Observer, were at their restaurant in the plaza they owned when they were ambushed by a gunman and shot at. They both were hit and the gentleman succumbed to his injuries. In St. James, 2 brothers were at a bar owned by one of the 2 brothers in the nighttime when they were ambushed by unknown assailants, shot at, and the brother who owned the establishment succumbed to his injuries. Mr. Rooms from Clarendon, according to the reports from the Gleaner, he was sitting on a wall eating ice cream when he was ambushed by an unknown assailant. He managed to run, however, they still managed to get some accurate shots on him, and he succumbed to his injuries. So here we are now, where we look at these cases. There is a general pattern that we can identify on the part of the attackers, where their modus operandi or their method of attack revolves around ambush and surprise, and their primary weapon of choice is the firearm. With this being said, as citizens, business people, we have to be fully aware that persons who may want to do us harm would more than likely utilize these tactics and weapons. And in so doing, it means that we have to be much more careful as regards to how we're going to go about, operating our business or going about our regular traverse between business, home, or wherever else we may go from day to day. By acknowledging that this is the way in which these attackers or our actual threats function, what we then now need to actually adjust in our behavior is a pattern where which, as much as is possible, we are not so present or not so slow with how we're moving, where we conduct our business and how we conduct our business. If these attackers are focused on being, speedily or approaching things with stealth, surprise, then, as potential victims, we have to now be more so driven towards making sure that we beef up our vigilance, we beef up our thought process in terms of worst case scenarios, and based on these worst case scenarios, we put mitigative measures in place, to at least safeguard us from any form of surprise. So this may mean that if we're at home, we ensure that as best as is possible, we are not towards the front where persons can easily ride by or pop over the fence, and surprise us with an attack. It could be similar where we're not necessarily on the veranda, where similar those persons can also have access to us in terms of their sight and attack us using a distant weapon. I may use another example where if we're traversing on the road, we use methods of transportation that give us a degree of concealment and speed towards moving from point A to point B. So as best as is possible, take transportation, and if we have to walk by foot, we walk by foot in a very speedily manner. And we, as said, anticipate these worst case scenarios, such as an attacker pouncing on us, coming off on bikes, and we think about ways in which we can evade those attacks, by identifying those spots that can be the exit points, that sort of thing.